welcome to RCKicks on this super hot day. We're pushing 28, 29, so the studio is, woo, it's hot and sweaty. But we'll carry on anyway. Now, I was supposed to be doing the Madcap restoration with Rebecca, but she's super busy, so it's kind of sitting here waiting for a window where she's free, where she can come back and join me on the show, and we can crack on and get her build finished. So another job that's kind of sitting waiting for me to do was my Astute. Now, if you haven't seen my previous video, I put a link up here where I basically explained that I swapped this one for a different Astute. So my Astute that I've been collecting parts for is now gone, and I've kept this one. But there is still parts on this that do need to be swapped out. So I've got front arms, rear arms, front bulkhead. That section obviously gets scratched because it faces the ground. So really what I'm doing is changing all the underside so that it doesn't show any actual impact damage here. It's had a new bumper and it's had a new rear guard fitted on it already. I did have those spare, but I can just use these. So it's really just changing the arms over to make the car look super smooth. Also give this a good clean. I got my new upgraded gearbox to go in, so hopefully that's not going to give me too much of a problem, so we can fit that as well today. And the only other thing, I've got a few screws. So as I'm taking screws out, if I've got them, I'll swap them over for new ones. And the only other thing left after that is the rear suspension is a bit saggy because it's got high caps on it. So I have other high caps which I've upgraded the springs. Whoops! I've upgraded the springs to stronger ones so it doesn't sag as much. Now I know what you're saying, why don't you just adjust them to get it to sit nicely where it's actually holding itself. You have to put the mounts almost to the bottom. So it doesn't look very good, and it's better just to upgrade the springs. So I did it yesterday to these ones, so I can just swap them over. Right, let's crack on and get the body off, get the wing off, so I can get access to the car. Just removed the cover and the wing, and I've had a look round, taken the wheels off, and I can see that I actually have some damage here. This section should have another part like the other side. Luckily that's one of the parts that I've ordered in metal. When I damaged the front, I had to purchase the front as well. So I've got the front upright, the front hubs and the rear hubs coming. So they are super fragile, but I didn't realize it was damaged when I bought it. But hey, that's part and parcel of buying vintage cars. What's next? Well, I think I'll focus on maybe the rear first, because I'm itching to get this gearbox in, and that's probably the biggest job. So let's crack on and get the gearbox off and the rear suspension off, and then get the rear arms off. So it's quite a big in-depth dive we're doing into this Astute today. Right, I'll stop waffling and just get on with it. I've swapped over the first arm, but it turns out that the second arm I've got for the other side is not exactly the same. It looks like it's been an upgraded part that's got extra support on it. So I'll fit it for now, but I would rather find the exact one. I'm pretty sure it will clear, hopefully. Otherwise I'll just have to leave the old one on. Bit of a shame, I didn't even really notice. So I'm not sure where this is from. This must be from a different car, or it's like an upgraded. I don't even think it's the same on this one. Or is it from one of these? No, so it's completely different again. So that's a bit of a strange one, that one. But we'll fit it anyway, as long as it clears. Turns out that the bottom of the plate looks like someone's put some super glue on the bottom for some reason, but there's no damage or anything. So I'll need to get some acetone at some point. Maybe I'll try that with some nail polish remover and see if I can get that off. It doesn't seem to be any reason why it was there. So there you go. So I've fitted one arm. Also the part where the arm pivots from, that one's completely destroyed. Luckily I've got a new one, so I've fitted two new ones. I'll fit one to the other side as well. Luckily I have them, so that's not an issue. I've taken the gearboxes out. There's the old gearbox, there's the new one that's going to go in. It's just a direct swap pretty much. I've got to take the motor off and put the motor on this one. So let's do that next. Well, it's taken me a while, but I've managed to get the gearbox in and I moved over the motor. I needed a different pinion, but luckily in my pinion box I happened to find a Schumacher, what was it, 24 tooth 48 DP that fit and worked. So that was a bit of luck. All went back in okay, no too much of a problem. The only thing I struggled with is the mounts. You have these little tiny bits of metal, little round ones that you actually bolt to, and I'd already put the gearbox in before trying to get this in, so it was super tight, but I managed to get it done, so it's okay. The Technigold's got a little bit of a scratch on it, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not only a little tiny one. I'll see if I can polish it out a little bit, but apart from that it's in really good condition. Next I've got to put the stronger sprung high caps back on the back, and then that is the back finished, and then we move to the front. I decided not to fit that new wrong arm. What I did was I sanded down the one I had and got rid of the scuffs, and then I replaced it on the other side. So the actual worn part is actually facing upwards, and then the new side is facing downwards. But because I've sanded it slightly, you can't really tell by looking down on it, and then when you turn it over it looks brand new like the other one. Next also I want to try and see if I can get some of this glue off, so I'm going to try that with some nail polish remover and see how that comes off. So let's try that, and hopefully I won't damage anything. Right, I've taken the front bulkhead off. I've actually swapped out some of the steering arms because I had them and one looked to be a bit cracked, so I swapped that out. Next I've got to take the bulkhead out and replace that, and then swap out the arms. What have I done with the arms? There we go. And I've got new front arms to put in. So that's the next job. It's coming along. I'm also cleaning as I go. The back's now pretty much all sorted, which is great. The extra suspension is much better for the car. It doesn't sag anymore. It's actually all right. I'd like it to be a little bit weaker because it's on its maximum, and that is about right. So it means that if you wanted it to be a bit softer than that, you would struggle. But it's better to have that than the sagging all the time. And it gives me quite a lot of movement all the way through instead of being down here and just bottoming out all the time. So yeah, happy with that. Let's keep going. Oh my god, it's like 30 odd degrees in here. So there we go, all finished at last. Good few hours in the studio. Quite super sweaty, but I managed to get all the gearbox in, all the arms on, and the main bulkhead's been replaced, and I gave it a bit of a clean. The steering's been changed as well. Still got to fettle the suspension a little bit, especially at the front. I might take a look inside those shocks, but I'll do that at a later date. Give it a bit of a polish. And yeah, the gearbox is lovely, super smooth. Got to get a new pinion. The pinion that's in there is a 24, I think, and it's too big. I need to go slightly smaller. The motor won't rotate away from the spur gear, so it's tight. So too tight to run it. So once I buy one of those and fit it, I'll then do a running video on it. But it's feeling super smooth, so that's really good. So yeah, there you go, that's the Astute. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Jim Taylor. Jim is starting his own little business doing a dipping. Well, if you don't know what dipping is, you basically take a part and you float a printed texture on it, or anything, could be any art whatsoever, and then you dip it into the tank and it actually adheres the transfer to the product. So he did some wheels for me, and these are standard Tamiya wheels, so he's got a carbon finish on the front. It's nice and hard. Also he does things like these stickers and in carbon and all kind of funky colors and things like that. So good luck, Jim. And he hasn't got a website yet or anything like that, but you can hit him up on Facebook. I'll put a picture up here so you can see what he's like. I think it's going to be really cool. He was talking about doing a lunchbox body and dipping that, so that would be pretty cool with some funky colors and things. So at some point, if he sends me one, I'll put it on the show and I'll show it to you. So good luck, Jim. I hope it grows up, and let me know when you get your website, because I'd love to have a look. So there you go. Thanks very much. If you'd like to support the RCKicks website, you can make a single donation. I'll put a link down the bottom, or head over to the RCKicks Facebook group where there's now 1,600 people chatting away and things like that. There's a link below. If you'd like to become a supporter of the channel, there's a Patreon account. I'll put a link below. Anyway, I'm off for a shower because it's so hot today. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. Check out one of these RCKicks videos for some more RC fun.